I came to Scotland hoping to find some sort of connection that was more than just me, that I was connected to something beyond myself. Around the end of November, during fall break for my classes, and the classes were going back online, so I figured that it would probably be the best time. I wanted to see Scotland for quite a while. I felt like there was some sort of calling, connection, and I really like Christmas, and I was like, what better time to come than Christmas? Unfortunately, I got here, and I wanted to see multiple places here. I stayed at a place in Glasgow for a few nights so I could get adjusted to being here. Unfortunately, it was on the tier 3 on the COVID grid, and so, well, I could still technically visit. The problem was I couldn't find a place outside of Glasgow to stay, and so I ended up spending much of my time stuck in the city, unable to leave. I wanted to get out into nature, but it's like really hard to get out into nature when you can't really leave the city that easily. After Christmas, a lot of places stopped taking people to stay there, and so I ended up having no place to stay. I finally found a place that I waited for to get a trip home to the US. But unfortunately, to get back to the US, I really needed a COVID test, and the thing was, to schedule a COVID test online, I had to have a phone number, and I didn't have a UK phone number, so I was a little bit stumped with that. I didn't know where to get a phone. Places were closed all over, so I had to reschedule my flight back to the US. So I basically had nowhere to go. I was a little tired. I hadn't found the connection I hoped I was looking for. They say that if you don't like your destiny, take your destiny into your own hands. The problem is, the thing that I want more than anything is a connection to something beyond myself. And if I take destiny into my own hands, I basically defeat the purpose of it being beyond myself. So I finally did get a phone around, I think it was March, and then I found out I didn't have a SIMS card. And by then I was just really depleted emotionally. I honestly wasn't even feeling in the mood to come back to the States. If I have to leave my connection behind, what do I have to go back to? Well, now that all my classes are online, maybe I might as well hang out and see what happens. So once I got the phone, I decided to get a bike. Maybe I could ride around, see more places. Unfortunately, the tire had some serious problems. First, it ran out of air, and then after it ran out of air, I got some slime to fill it up so I could fix it. And then I guess slime ended up somehow blocking up that air thing, so the air still leaks pretty frequently. I still feel deep down inside that I'm supposed to not turn back. I know that I had a connection when I was young, and that was undeniable. But now it's like, well, what do I feel inside me? Why does it continue to call my soul and not answer? I feel like if I turn back, I'll never see what's at the end of it. But if I don't turn back, then nothing will happen, because that seems to be what's happening all the time. I feel like maybe I really was called here, but I'm just too inadequate to know what my calling is supposed to be. I don't even know if I've had a calling, but it feels so deep within my very essence of who I am that to ignore it is to ignore part of who I am. But if I keep following it, it'll lead me nowhere. It's really been hard to even get motivated to do stuff anymore. I'm afraid to go out sometimes because I'm afraid that if I go out, I'll get my hopes up that something will happen this time. And nothing does, and I'll realize that this wasn't the time either for anything to happen. But this time, I was just as unimportant, as incompetent as I was all the other times before. Maybe I'm not supposed to do anything. Maybe I failed long ago. Maybe I did something wrong long before, and I'm just having the remnants of a call that no longer applies to me. For over 5 months I've been here looking for my calling. I think it's about time that I leave. If there really is a calling out here for me, I'm too incompetent to find it, I guess. I'd like to think there's something out there bigger than us guiding our paths, but if there are, it's not for me.